Hi guys, Kevin Brown from Remax Property Centre here on the Gold Coast, and I just want to talk about the post-budget blues that everyone's going on about. I want to talk about negative gearing and how it's going to affect the real estate market. Now, the government, when this was introduced, was telling us that it's for the younger people, it's going to help the younger generation get into the property market and keep these greedy property investors away from making all this money and surviving and locking everyone out of the market so they can't invest anymore. And they're going to tax them ridiculous amounts of money on it as well. So that will stop them. So I think it's going to work the exact opposite way. And the reason is because what they've done with negative gearing is they've stopped you from negative gearing against your income tax, against your wage, and they're saying you can only gear a property against the actual property itself. So if you've got a property that's earning $50,000 in rent, you bought an investment property, it's getting $50,000 in rent, you can write off only $50,000. You can't go negative because that's negative gearing, but you can write it off so it breaks even. Now, let me just say $1 million loan at investment rates about 7% now is $70,000 a year just in interest without principal, without paying any of it off. So that's $70,000 that's got to be paid. $50,000 will probably come from rent, okay? You've got to come up with the other 20 yourself. Now, on top of that, you've got your rates. You've got all these other bills that you get as well that come along with owning a property, maintenance fees, all this sort of stuff. It is, and that you've got to pay for that now after you've paid tax on your income. You've then got to pay that yourself out of your own pocket. So that's a lot of money. Okay. Plus, if you've got an apartment, and some of these apartments now, they've got body corporate fees like $330 a week. Like, that's a lot of money that you've now got to pay out of your own pocket, plus your insurances, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It's going to cost someone a lot of money out of their own pocket, where it used to cost about $100, maybe $120 a week. Now it's going to cost like $400 or $500 a week. It's like nuts. So it's going to be very difficult for someone young that hasn't got into this system to be able to do that, okay, that hasn't had invested before to do it. Because if you've bought a property, like your parents or your big brother or sister or whoever, they bought a property 10 years ago. They might have bought another one 15 years ago. So they've got two properties that they've been negative gearing all that time. The reason they've bought those properties is usually to claim a massive tax deduction off their income so they can put more money into their mortgage and pay their own home off. Now, if they've paid their home off and they've paid one of the properties off, which is possible to do in that 15 years, and they've made a lot of capital growth as well. The third property's got a small mortgage on it. They can now, with the first investment property they've got, say there's $50,000 income on that, they can write off $50,000 if they buy another property. Plus, on the second property they've got, they might be getting $50,000 a year of that. So they can add those two together because the negative gearing is now on each property, but because it's on the properties, you can add your properties together and get $100,000 as write-offable income now, because that's what those properties make. Plus, if you've got the third property, you might be getting extra $50,000 from that. So you got $150,000 that you can write off against your rent, okay, for those three properties combined. Now, that's awesome because it's not going to change anything for these people, for investors that have astute investors that have invested a long time ago. They're going to be able to grow their portfolios massively, and other people aren't going to be able to get in the market and do it at all. Because if you can only negative gear now if you buy a brand new product, and building costs are so expensive that they're so expensive to buy. And I can't see people doing it. And young people aren't going to be able to afford to save up $200,000 for a $20,000 deposit, for a 20% deposit on $1 million home. It's like impossible after tax. So I can see there's going to be a shortage of stock, like houses to be sold on the market. There's going to be less people buying because they can't afford to, or the investors aren't going to do it, and rents are going to skyrocket because of it. So if you're a tenant, I'm sorry, but I think the rent's going to go up. If you're an investor and you've already bought and you've grandfathered these properties, keep them, borrow against it, get more property now, because you may not have this opportunity again. Hey, have a great day. That's my rant. That's my view on it. Please get accountant's advice. Big disclaimer. Before you do anything, don't listen to me. Okay, cheers. Take it easy. Bye.